6 Central.
Nearly 24 people are recovering this morning after a massive explosion at a downtown Fort Worth, Texas hotel.
It was just a ferocious shake from, like I said, about 8 blocks up.
What may have caused this chaotic blast and what police are saying today. President Trump expected in a D.C. federal appeals court this morning over claims he's immune from prosecution for his alleged role in the January 6th Capitol attacks. We're live in Washington with his latest legal battle. Could the United States mission to the moon be in jeopardy following Monday's successful launch of a private lunar lander? A glitch in space leaves a lot unclear. We're live with the so-called anomaly.
Hail, hail, Michigan. They are the champions of college football.
And Houston's NRG Stadium turning maize and blue with Michigan's big win over Washington. We're live with all the fanfare and celebration. Congrats to the Wolverines. It's Morning in America.
From our NewsNation headquarters in America's heartland, it's time for News for All America.
Yeah, thanks for waking up with us, everybody. A really snowy start across the central part of the country this morning. We had it here in Chicago on our way to work.
And everybody's been talking about it will hit several states before it finally dissipates.
Yeah,
so, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And speaking of, let's take a live look at Kansas City this morning. Oh, we don't have that live look anymore. We'll get back to that in just a second. But all that to say, different parts of the country are expecting and experiencing some of this wintry mix this morning. We'll follow that closely. We're also following several other developing stories right now, including more clues into what may have caused a door plug to blow out during that Alaska Airlines flight, forcing the FAA to ground Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. Investigators finding loose bolts on 2 airlines. We take a look at what this means for Boeing moving forward.
That is still really scary for a lot of people. I flew in yesterday. People are still talking about that on flights.
How could you
that
not
have nothing
think about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, President Trump plans to make his case for presidential immunity in his election interference trial. The former president's legal team claims he should be protected from prosecution because he was in office at the time of the January 6th Capitol attack. Our Tom Dempsey is live in Washington.
And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel this morning, trying to prevent the Israel-Hamas war from becoming a wider regional conflict. This as NewsNation goes inside one of Hamas terror tunnels right there in Gaza. Robert Sherman will have that story in just a few minutes. But first, we do want to begin here. United and Alaska Airlines are reporting loose parts in their inspections of the now grounded Boeing 737 MAX 9 airplanes.
Like we're talking about that, it has been scary. The airlines releasing statements saying they found bolts that needed tightening and loose door plugs on some of their planes. This days after a panel and a window blowout forced an emergency landing on an Alaska Airlines flight. The temporary grounding of those jets leading to more than 300 canceled flights on Monday.
And in a statement, Boeing said it's staying in close contact with the airlines, and the company is committed to adhering to safety and quality standards. The NTSB now in the process of figuring out what went wrong on that Alaska Airlines flight and also what comes next.
We need to first and foremost figure out what happened here on this aircraft. If we have a bigger system-wide or fleet issue, we will issue an urgent safety recommendation to push for change.
The NTSB also saying late on Monday it wasn't sure whether or not that cabin panel had been properly bolted on. But we're staying on top of that story for you because everybody's worried about it. Also today, President Trump attending a major hearing in his federal election interference case.
With less than a week until the Iowa caucuses, the GOP frontrunner heading to Washington to try to dismiss the case, arguing he is entitled to presidential immunity. Federal prosecutors insist Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election were not part of his official presidential duties. Our Tom Dempsey is live in Washington, where the president is expected to walk into federal court today. And Tom, we know the former president is a fighter.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. Good morning. In just a few hours, former President Donald Trump will be inside this courthouse behind me for this hearing today. It all revolves around whether or not Mr. Trump can be granted what's known as presidential immunity, which, if granted, that would derail one of the federal investigations against him. This hearing today all ties back to the federal investigation involving allegations against Mr. Trump that he took part in an alleged criminal scheme to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. Mr. Trump's own legal team says the allegations against him all took place while Mr. Trump was in office, and his decisions to question the 2020 election results took place within his duty as president. The attorneys also bring up how Congress acquitted Mr. Trump in the impeachment trial related to January 6th. Judge Tanya Chutkan, who will oversee this trial, rejected that argument, though, with the special counsel saying a president can indeed be prosecuted for an illegal act to remain in power. The former president posted about showing up for today's hearing, writing on social media, quote, "Of course, I was entitled as president of the United States and commander-in-chief to immunity. I wasn't campaigning. The election was long over. I was looking for voter fraud." He also accused President Joe Biden of weaponizing the Department of Justice. But during a speech in South Carolina on Monday, President Joe Biden once again took aim for President Trump's actions on January 6th. Take a listen.
For hours, the defeated former president sat in the private dining room off of the Oval Office and did nothing, absolutely nothing. His actions were among the worst derelictions of duty by any president in American history.
Now, the hearing today kicks off around 9:30 a.m. Eastern time with the U.S. Court of Appeals here in D.C. A three-judge panel will hear the case. Both sides will present oral arguments, followed by a question-and-answer period with the legal teams. It's important to note that whatever side loses this hearing today and this decision today coming down, likely to appeal this case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And until that happens, that federal trial involving those election claims against Mr. Trump, that will be put on hold. It's slated to begin around in early March, but it's on hold until this appeals process plays out, guys.
And Tom, you and I both know that the former president will fight this till the end. Tom Dempsey live for us this morning. Tom, thank you. Well, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel this morning holding meetings with Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Blinken has been having high-level talks across the Middle East this week, trying to prevent the Israel-Hamas war from spreading to other countries in the region. This visit coming as news breaks of Israeli forces killing a Hezbollah commander in an attack in Lebanon. And meanwhile, NewsNation went inside the Hamas tunnel system. We've been talking extensively about it for 3 months now, and some of the places first hit on that October 7th initial massacre. Robert Sherman is live in Tel Aviv with more. Robert, you went inside these tunnels yourself.
You said it perfectly, Markie. Ever since October 7th, this has been such a major topic of discussion. Hamas's intricate tunnel system. It's one of the biggest challenges that the IDF is facing while inside of Gaza. We were given an up-close look at that tunnel system. This is a brief look at what we saw during our time in Gaza.
These places were overrun by Hamas on the 7th. There were serious firefights here. It took a while to get our hands back on this place. It was ransacked. To me, Gaza is still dangerous. It's still a war zone.
As we head into Gaza, we're seeing some of the initial spots that were hit on October 7th. Some of those towers that are in the background there, Hamas actually using drones to drop explosives on top of those.
The vicinity of the tunnel to this location.
This is an up-close look at one of them, and you see the massive size of this. You could easily drive an American car through there. All right, now we're going inside of one of Hamas's tunnels. 50 meters down, 4 kilometers in length.
You can see the level of engineering here.
How long would it have taken to build something like this?
Years.
Years.
The size and magnitude of what they've built here, it's a doomsday capability.
The IDF says this is a top priority for them, knocking out Hamas's intricate tunnel system. Tonight, we'll be taking you deeper into Hamas's underworld and showing you just how advanced and how extensive this matrix is. Nick and Markie?
Yeah, Robert, we'll be tuning in for that for sure. I have to ask a quick follow-up, though. What did it feel like, just for you, your safety, too, emotionally, to go inside these tunnels where some of the worst atrocities have happened, some of the worst terrorists in this world, worked out of. What did that feel like for you?
I got to tell you, Markie, it was hard being in those tunnels to even think about that this could have been a place that Hamas was operating out of, because it was just so advanced. It felt more like being in an American infrastructure. I mean, that's just how advanced it was, and the amount of concrete that has been poured down there. So it wasn't easy to really associate the two, that this was terrorist infrastructure. It felt as though it could have been somewhere back in my hometown of Cleveland or back somewhere in the United States. It was just impossible to really make that connection there. That's how advanced it was.
Yeah, I was watching you kind of in real time through your social media channels and praying for your safety and also your crew there. Incredible, unparalleled work as always. Robert Sherman, thanks so much. And for everybody who's interested in this full report, Robert's full report inside the Hamas terror tunnels runs tonight during Elizabeth Vargas Reports at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on NewsNation. For more on this, let's bring in Dan Iluz, a member of Israel's Knesset with the ruling Likud party. Thank you so much, sir, for being here this morning. I wanted to start with this. Israel's foreign minister has confirmed that Israel was behind the assassination of the commander of Hezbollah's Radwan Force Special Operations Unit. Do you agree with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who says that a war between Israel and Hezbollah is in nobody's best interest?
I mean, we've said it from the very first day, ever since October 7th, that we don't want to start a war on our northern front. Definitely not, as we're laser focused on defeating Hamas in Gaza because of the atrocities that they did on October 7th. It's not in our interest. We've said it very clearly. However, Hezbollah on October 8th started attacking Israel, and we're responding. We're responding forcefully. We're making it clear that this is unacceptable. We have to understand that Hezbollah and Hamas are no different. They have the same terrorist ideology that's based on a radical Islam. They're very similar in their ideological background. They're both supported by the Iranian regime as proxies in order to attack Israel. And so it makes sense that Hezbollah wants to get into this war, at least in order to divert our attention. Our interest right now is to stay laser focused on Gaza, to defeat Hamas, to completely eradicate it the way it should be because of the evil that's been shown on October 7th. But if we need to also fight on the northern front, then I promise you that the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, is ready for it and will do what needs to be done.
Yeah, copy that. Heard you loud and clear. This also all comes as the IDF says it's beginning to shift to that more targeted campaign in Gaza that you touched on there. How long do you expect that transition to take?
So we have to be clear. Right now in the northern part of Gaza, we're shifting to a different phase. This different phase doesn't mean the end of the war. It means, as you said very correctly, it's a more targeted phase, will require less troops. It's because we've been able to, at least in many significant ways, gain control of northern Gaza, but there's still a lot of work there. Terrorists that, as you've just shown, the terror tunnels that are very advanced, they're still hiding in those terror tunnels in the northern parts of Gaza. And there's still a lot of pockets of terrorism that will need to be fought, but it's acting more as a guerrilla warfare and less as an organized army that we're fighting against. In the southern part of Gaza, the intensity is still very, very strong. We're still not switching phases. We're still very much in that same phase of gaining control of the southern parts of Gaza. I want to make it clear, the other phases of this conflict will take time. We're in no way pointing at the end of this war. There's still a long time that will be needed. On the first day of the war, on October 7th, we said that this will be a war that will take time, and this is what we're seeing right now because Hamas has all of these infrastructures underground. They have our hostages still being held, and so it will take time. But we're very focused on our mission. Yeah,
and we know that Netanyahu has said, it'll take as long as it takes to eradicate Hamas, and we're all still waiting, too, with bated breath about the 130 hostages still being held in Gaza and what their fate looks like this morning. Knesset member Dan Iluz, thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thank you very much.
Nick, over to you.
Thanks, Markie. Taiwan's defense ministry issuing an air raid alert this morning, saying China has launched a satellite. This coming just days before the closely watched Taiwanese elections, which Beijing has described as a choice between war and peace. The island is self-ruled, but China considers it a province that must be controlled. U.S. intelligence suggested last year that Chinese President Xi Jinping preparing to invade Taiwan by the end of the decade. Turning now to Fort Worth, Texas, where an explosion at a historic hotel leaves nearly 2 dozen people injured. This is a live look from this morning from the Sandman Hotel, and right now investigators are working to learn exactly what happened. Our Kelsey Kernstein is here with the very latest. Kelsey, this is a situation that still has people unsettled.
Truly it is, Nick. In fact, here at this hour, this is what we know, that overnight crews have been combing through the building to make sure no one is trapped inside. We know at least 21 people have been injured, 1 critically and 4 others seriously. Now, police say the explosion happened around 3:30 Monday afternoon in downtown Fort Worth. This is just about 30 minutes west of Dallas. You can see that windows are blown out, smoke plumes filled the air, and all that is left in some areas is debris. Now, fire officials believe that the cause of this explosion is gas at this time. Crews rescued several people trapped inside the basement of the building. Fire officials say that this was a hotel that was open while under construction, saying that may have caused the blast. We know that 26 rooms were occupied at the time of this explosion and that all guests have been accounted for. This is a historic building. It is more than 100 years old.
It's heartbreaking for downtown Fort Worth, of course, and at this point, well, our hearts and prayers are with the victims at area hospitals.
And authorities right now are saying that there is no indication that this explosion was a criminal act at this time, but they are, of course, still investigating. Markie and Nick?
So harrowing.
It's scary, absolutely, because you're just in the hotel and you're not expecting an emergency like that to happen.
I started getting texts from, family, friends,
yeah.
Colleagues saying, have you seen what's happening in Fort Worth? And I couldn't believe the images when they were coming in real time.
Well, the campaign trail is ramping up in Iowa as GOP presidential candidates battle each other and the weather. Our Emily Finn is in the Hawkeye State less than a week before the Iowa caucuses, with each presidential hopeful's push to attract voters.
And pro-Palestinian protesters blocking traffic at major New York City bridges. This is just one of those groups. How many were arrested and what charges they now face? That's straight ahead.
Take a breath of fresh air with the Stanley Steamer Air Duct Cleaning. We clean over 10 million feet of air ducts each year with our specialized trucks built by us, removing the contaminants from your home. For cleaner indoor air, call 1-800-STEAMER.
On your period, sudden gushes happen. Say goodbye gush fears thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology that absorbs 2 times faster. Hello, clean and comfortable. Always fear no gush.
Mornings. The golden hour of cold and flu symptoms.
I'm feeling better.
Cough? Congestion?
All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Oh, hated that. Headache? Better. Fever, body pain.
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's not cold and flu season, it's comeback season.
There's 2 things a young man want to be: cowboy or a gangster. And a gangster is out of style. I got back to my roots. We come from a long line of cowboys. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my aunt even rode horses. When I see all of us out here on this ranch, I see how far our legacy can go.
Now on sale at Ancestry. She found it. The feeling of finding the psoriasis treatment she's been looking for. She found Sotyktu, a once-daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, for the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding that outfit psoriasis tried to hide from you, or finding your swimsuit is ready for prime time.
Dad, once daily Sotyktu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotyktu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotyktu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotyktu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you, Sotyktu.
A couple years ago, I ended up in a motorcycle accident. I didn't have health insurance at the time, and now I have a plan that keeps me covered for $9 a month.
Half of my monthly premium is covered with financial help, and knowing I'm covered to go to therapy and fill my prescriptions is huge.
I found a plan for $0 a month. It was a huge sigh of relief.
All plans cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll by January 16th.
This is a conflict that is, without question, going to go down in history as one of the most defining moments in all of our lives.
Let's go.
So we need to be here to tell these stories so that you can understand accurately what this crisis truly is. There's been a lot of rocket fire that has been. What happens in the Middle East and Israel will likely define our future throughout all of America.
So even with the snow falling in Iowa, the campaign trail is really heating up, less than a week away from the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah, and with the Hawkeye State hosting the first Republican debate of the new year between Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, the candidates are making their case to Iowans as to why they should be the party's presidential nominee.
Yeah, Emily Finn is in Iowa with the latest from the campaign trail. Hey, Emily, good morning.
Hey, Markie, good morning to you. Well, it is a very chilly, snowy morning here in Des Moines. I got about 6 layers on right now, and I think we're going to have to layer up the rest of the week to stay warm because these temperatures are looking like they're going to stay frigid. It's actually forced some of the GOP presidential candidates to cancel some events here in Iowa due to the weather in this final stretch leading up to the Iowa caucuses. In fact, the National Weather Service says the Hawkeye State is under a winter storm warning, and we're expecting 6 to 12 inches of snow before tomorrow. We've already seen some flurries. The roads are pretty bad this morning already. Meteorologists are also predicting a polar vortex in the days leading up to the 15th. It will bring single-digit temperatures and even below zero temperatures as well, which could influence lower voter turnout than anticipated. Iowa caucus goers say that both President Trump and Nikki Haley have already canceled events in Iowa because of the weather. At Haley's town hall event last night, one of her supporters didn't seem too worried about the winter storm, however, saying -0 temps is the same old song and dance for Iowans.
That's not even cold for Iowans. I think Iowa sees like -30 is cold, -40 is freezing, but I mean, it's supposed to be like -6, so not at all. I don't think that shouldn't dissuade anybody.
But when it comes down to it, former President Trump still commands a massive lead here in Iowa. For the rest of the week, one of the biggest things that we'll be watching for is if these winter conditions will deter voters, especially the elderly, from showing up to the caucuses. Experts say Trump has the most to lose from low turnout because if his momentum lulls and he doesn't win in a blowout here, that could pose trouble for his campaign in the next in the nation primaries in New Hampshire and South Carolina, where Nikki Haley has been picking up steam.
It's a big problem. It's a problem particularly for folks who live in outlying rural areas. You know, if you're in a town like Ames, which isn't exactly a big city, you might have to drive or trudge through some snow for a couple of blocks to get to your precinct location. Rural areas might have to go 10 miles or more to a neighboring town, and some people don't live in a town to begin with, so they're really isolated.
So this could be pretty historic here. I mean, extreme cold temperatures have not impacted the Iowa caucuses since 1972. And that year at the Des Moines airport, the temperatures reached -4 degrees. So we may be on track for record-breaking temperatures this time around. Nick and Markie?
And Emily, may I just say in the most professional, please don't call HR kind of way, how cute you look with those earmuffs and the snow falling behind you?
It's perfect.
You're going to make me
Markie
blush, Nick.
This is just Markie and I were like, doesn't she look so cute?
Yeah, yeah. You look great, Emily. Thanks.
Thank you so
you're
much,
warming
Emily.
me up. My cheeks are warm now.
Stay warm, Emily. Emily, thank you. Let's talk more about this with national political reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, not how cute Emily looked, but we actually want to talk about the Iowa caucuses itself. Julia, Governor DeSantis called it a lie that he'll drop out of the race after the Iowa caucuses, but he's invested so much there. So what type of showing does he need from Iowans?
Oh, Nick, he needs a knockout showing at this point. Look, for a while in Iowa and nationally, Governor DeSantis was polling in second place. But we've seen nationally in New Hampshire and in some polling in Iowa, Nikki Haley has sort of usurped him from that place. Now, he is still running in second place in Iowa. She's narrowly behind him. But, Nikki Haley is, the least of his problems right now. Former President Trump holds such a commanding lead in Iowa, which is really a threat to Ron DeSantis's campaign. Now, in terms of whether he continues on after Iowa or not, it depends how he does in Iowa, obviously, and the financial state of his campaign. But for a campaign that puts so much into Iowa, so much investment on the ground, you have to wonder what that road looks like ahead for DeSantis if he doesn't perform well.
Julia, so many questions for you, but I also want to get in here before I let you go. You just wrote a new column on Nikki Haley's strategy as her polls show her closing in on DeSantis for second place. What's her plan for an upset in the Hawkeye state?
Well, so in the Hawkeye state, from what we've seen in the polls, Nikki Haley is not as strong in Iowa as she is in New Hampshire. And there's actually a new CNN poll out this morning showing her lead in New Hampshire, narrowing that to single digits with former President Trump. So I think there's a strategy of, performing relatively well in Iowa, but really having or hoping to have this knockout blow in New Hampshire and then going into her home state of South Carolina. Remember last week when Nikki Haley got a lot of flack for saying New Hampshire would correct Iowa's results? Well, we know that there was some pushback on that from some Iowa critics, from Ron DeSantis, for example. However, we have seen in the past that while Iowa winnows the field, New Hampshire does do a better job of predicting the primary.
And Julia, I have less than a minute. I have to ask you this, though. We just talked about how cold it is with Emily reporting right before you. Iowa is expecting frigid weather on caucus day. Former President Trump has suggested it either could help or hurt his results. How do you see it?
Look, it's unclear. I was actually chatting with Chris Stirewalt yesterday on the Hill panel show about this, and Chris essentially said, it could go either way. We know that former President Trump has this commanding lead in Iowa, but remember, there's a lot of surprises in a caucus, and we have to remember a lot of Trump's support in Iowa and across the country is still soft, so it could really go either way.
And I don't see cold weather stopping those who really support the former president. Julia Manchester, thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick.
Well, NewsNation special coverage of the Iowa caucuses start this Friday. Leland Vittert hosts On Balance Live from Des Moines at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then on Monday, CUOMO, Dan Abrams, and Elizabeth Vargas co-host live special coverage starting at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, we will be there. You can't miss out. You've been speaking about weather the past couple minutes. This massive blizzard is slamming the central United States. I know some of you feeling it. More than a half foot of snow combined with high winds causing these whiteout conditions. Like close to no visibility in some parts of the country. We'll track where this storm is headed for you right after the break.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
What if my type 2 diabetes takes over? What if all I do isn't enough? Or what if I can do diabetes differently?
Now you can with Once Weekly Mounjaro. Mounjaro helps your body regulate blood sugar. And Mounjaro can help decrease how much food you eat. 3 out of 4 people reached an A1C of less than 7%. Plus, people taking Mounjaro lost up to 25 pounds. Mounjaro is not for people with type 1 diabetes or children. Don't take Mounjaro if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Mounjaro and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, vision changes, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. Taking Mounjaro with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Tell your doctor if you're nursing, pregnant, or plan to be. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can cause dehydration and may worsen kidney problems.
I can do diabetes differently with Mounjaro.
Ask your doctor about once weekly Mounjaro.
Good morning with Vocalax.
Good morning.
Try Docalax Chewy Fruit Bites for fast and gentle constipation relief in as little as 30 minutes, making your good morning even better with Docalax.
Attention, former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for at least 30 days from August 1953 through December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects, were diagnosed with fertility issues or more, you may qualify for significant financial compensation. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group now to discuss your case. It has been proven that the water at Camp Lejeune during those years was extremely contaminated with toxic chemicals. A new law passed by Congress now allows veterans and their surviving family members to bring lawsuits and potentially recover damages for harm from exposure to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. Don't wait until it's too late. It only takes a few minutes and the call is completely free. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group to discuss your case now.
Call 1-800-773-6677. That's 1-800-773-6677.
Back to you now on your Tuesday morning. Let's talk once again about this massive blizzard we're keeping our eye on. This is slamming the central United States. More than a half foot of snow combined with high winds causing this for a lot of you out there driving this morning. We're talking about whiteout conditions. This particular video, this shut down I-80 in Nebraska and I-70 in Kansas to a dangerous travel level. So keep that in mind if you're hitting the roads.
And it's scary because you really cannot see what's in front of you. That's why it's completely white out, and they ask people to stay home if you don't have to be on those roads.
Exactly.
Now let's get to the very latest on the storms tracking with our meteorologist, Max Saparis. Max, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, the storm system is so expansive, Nick, it actually has alerts for it across nearly every state in the country outside of North Dakota. We turn our attention to the Gulf Coast, though, where there's an ongoing tornado watch for the western panhandle of Florida into southern Alabama. That watch goes till 7 a.m., though there is an active warning right outside of Panama City right now for a potential tornado on the ground. So make sure you have access to alerts here for the next couple of hours as that continues. The severe weather threat shifts into the southeast. Heavy snow on the backside for the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. The severe threat for potentially more tornadoes extends from southern Virginia all the way into the Florida Peninsula today through tonight. And there's also an additional flood risk for the Appalachian Mountains going from Atlanta all the way to Boston for 2 to 5 inches of additional rainfall. Not only that, the mid-Atlantic into the northeast having a high wind threat. Gusts of 30 to 70 miles per hour will be possible later this evening and tonight, likely causing power outages and also causing the threat for those big rigs out on the roads to possibly topple over. So we want to make sure we're on the lookout for that. All right, onto the snow now. Heavy totals coming down in parts of the Midwest. You can see 6 to 10 inches expected for parts of the Chicago suburbs, back towards the Quad Cities, south towards parts of Missouri. Meanwhile, several slushy inches expected for Chicago and into Kansas City. Likely going to be the most significant snow of the season so far, meaning that our weather pattern is getting certainly much more active here after a slow start to winter. In fact, guys, we're tracking another big storm system for much of the U.S. before the weekend.
All right. Thank you for those updates, Max. My mom is driving from Dallas up to Chicago this morning, so I have my eye closely. I'll be asking you some questions offline, too. Thanks. Hey, happening right now, everybody, I want to take you back to some breaking news that we're following since yesterday afternoon. Happening right now, crews are working to pick up all of the pieces after this explosion at a historic hotel in Fort Worth, Texas. This blast has left nearly 24 people injured. This is a live look outside the Sandman Signature Hotel in Fort Worth. You kind of see some of those law enforcement crews, first responders combing the area. They're still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. We know a restaurant in the building was under construction. Could that have anything to do with it? A possible gas leak? We're waiting for the latest updates from city officials there as well. But just take a look at all this debris that was left behind. Again, 21 people injured, and we're staying on top of it. We'll get another full update for you in just a moment.
And we know that they're keeping people from that area because everything there is evidence.
Yes,
of what
and
may have
dangerous
happened.
right
Absolutely. Well, this half hour, Israel releasing video of the killing of a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon. This as the U.S. continues to try to prevent the Israel-Hamas war from becoming a wider conflict. What Iowa Senator Joni Ernst has to say about her trip to the Middle East.
Plus, House Republicans releasing a resolution to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. We're breaking down the text and how Democrats are reacting.
And trouble in space, why the United States' historic mission to the moon could be in jeopardy.
And now let's take a look at some of the other headlines you'll be talking about today.
As Kelsey Kernstein is back with us with what's in the mix. Hey, Kelsey.
Hey, you guys, let's go ahead and get to those top headlines. So 325 people have now been arrested for blocking the Holland Tunnel, the Brooklyn and the Manhattan bridges in New York. Now, this happened during a pro-Palestinian rally on Monday, blocking the entrances into the city. Thousands of protesters called for a ceasefire in Gaza, some even chaining themselves together. It brought traffic to a standstill for an hour. Now, this is the biggest protest the city has seen in several months. Well, the parents of the Iowa school shooter are now saying that there were no warning signs. 17-year-old Dylan Butler killed one and injured 7 others at Perry High School. His parents say that they are trying to understand why their son would commit such violence. Butler took his own life after killing 11-year-old Amir Jolliffe and injuring others, including the school's principal. Butler's parents say that they are grateful for the grace that they have been shown since the shooting. Well, we hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the IRS has officially announced the tax season will start in 20 days.
Boo.
I know, I'm sad.
Come on now.
I know, but here's some positives.
Okay.
The agency is now easing the filing process for the more than 128 million expected taxpayers. There have been updates to the technology and improvements to the customer service experience. Now, this is all thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act money. Eligible taxpayers will be able to file their 2023 returns online through a new electronic direct file pilot. Now, this pilot will be in full force in mid-March, just ahead of the April 15th deadline. All right, so Apple is now finally paying people out for intentionally slowing down their iPhones. The company agreed to settle the class action lawsuit filed by users in 2020. Users claim that Apple deliberately slowed down the performance of the iPhones with degraded batteries. Customers who submitted claims in 2020 will receive about $92, which is a cut of the $500 million lawsuit.
I am genuinely floored because when people used to say that, I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that. People are like, they slow down these phones every time. No, they wouldn't do that.
And then maybe,
Clearly.
is it for the upgrade? Is it for a new phone?
Yes. Yeah.
But I've noticed that with mine. Some of my apps don't work, as quickly and speedily as they used to. Wonder if we can get a
I think we got to blame
slice
Apple.
of the pie.
Make some phone calls. $92.
Slice
Let's
of
go.
that-
300
slice of
between
that
all
apple
of us.
pie coming up
that's
hot.
right.
Okay, Kelsey,
Thank you
thanks.
so much, Kelsey. Now to Republican efforts to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. The House Oversight Committee releasing a contempt resolution as the president's son defies subpoenas to testify about his overseas business dealings.
Evan Lambert shows us what comes next and what's also in this text. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning, Markie. Nick. This morning, we're learning about House Republicans' attempt to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. GOP Committee Chair James Comer releasing the resolution yesterday, and we know both the Oversight and Judiciary Committees will take up the resolution tomorrow. It requires a majority of the GOP-controlled House to approve it. If approved, Hunter Biden would be held in contempt for defying a December 13th subpoena for testimony in the GOP-led impeachment inquiry into his father, President Biden. Republicans have not been able to prove wrongdoing on the president's behalf. The resolution reads, quote, Robert Hunter Biden shall be found to be in contempt of Congress for failure to comply with a congressional subpoena. The Speaker of the House shall otherwise take all appropriate action to enforce the subpoena. The attached report argues Hunter Biden, quote, flagrantly defied the committee's subpoena and has no valid reason not to comply. Remember how we got here. Hunter Biden offered to testify publicly under oath, but that offer was rejected by Oversight Chairman Comer, who wanted a behind-closed-doors deposition. On the day it was scheduled, Biden gave a press statement outside the Capitol saying his father was not involved in his business deals. Oversight Committee ranking member, Democrat Jamie Raskin, ripped Comer and Republicans on the committee over going forward with a contempt resolution. He said in part, quote, Chairman Comer does not want Hunter Biden to testify in public because he wants to keep up with the carefully curated distortions, blatant lies, and laughable conspiracy theories that have marked this investigation. However, the facts and the evidence all show no wrongdoing and no impeachable offense by President Biden. If the House approves the contempt resolution, it would be up to the Justice Department to decide whether Hunter would face criminal charges for contempt. Hunter's attorney, Abby Lowell, previously said in a statement, top Republicans aren't interested in hearing from Hunter, saying, quote, instead, House Republicans continue to play politics by seeking an unprecedented contempt motion against someone who has, from the first request, offered to answer all their proper questions. What are they afraid of? End quote.
Evan, it looks like we have a lot of legal wrangling to go before it is all settled. Evan Lambert, live for us at the nation's capital. Evan, thank you. Well, tensions rising in the Middle East over the Israel-Hamas war.
Find peace and stability in the Middle East, but that doesn't involve the engagement of terrorists.
NewsNation's Leland Vittert speaks with Senator Joni Ernst about what she thinks is the best way to bring long-term stability to the area.
And on Friday, January 12th, NewsNation's Dan Abrams hosts a presidential primary forum with 3 Democrats running to unseat President Biden for the Democratic nomination. Tune into that at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Bye-bye, cough.
Later, chest congestion. Hello, 12 hours of relief.
12 hours?
Mucinex DM gives you 12 hours of relief from chest congestion in any cough, day or night. Mucinex DM. It's comeback season. Now try Mucinex Insta-Soothe sore throat medicated drops.
Icy hot. Ice works fast. Heat makes it last. Feel the power of contrast therapy. So you can rise from pain. Icy hot.
Emergency crystals pop and fizz when you throw them back. And who doesn't love a good throwback? Emergency crystals.
To 50 years with my best friend.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty absorbs spills like a sponge and is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one get one free offer goes away.
What's my safe flight story? I'm a photographer, and when I'm driving, I see inspiration right through my glass. So when my windshield cracked, it had to be fixed right. I scheduled with Safe Flight Auto Glass. Their experts replaced my windshield and recalibrated my car's advanced safety system. Safe Flight is the one I trust. They focus on safety, so I can focus on this view.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
Welcome back. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is currently on a flight. He's on a flight in an 8-trip tour in the Middle East in an effort to keep Israel's war from escalating as part of President Biden's deterrence policy.
Yeah, Republican U.S. Senator Joni Ernst just returned from her trip to Iran. And on Monday night, Leland Vittert asked if she thinks America will be successful in bringing long-term stability to the Middle East. This is what she had to say.
I think there will be peace if Israel can wipe out Hamas, if we see other terrorist leaders taken out, as we have seen with the leader in Lebanon. But we've got a long ways to go, and we need strong American leadership. And this is where we see the United States failing, is that we do not have a strong commander-in-chief. You mentioned the or else part of that, and we have not shown the rest of the world that there is an or else. We have the Houthis, we have Hezbollah, we have other Iran proxies striking American troops, not to mention what happened on October 7th, which was horrific. But when it comes to Americans, and I'll remind everyone that Hamas is currently holding 6 Americans hostage, as well as the over 30 Americans that were killed on October 7th. They continue to strike at Americans across the Middle East with those proxies, and yet the United States has done very little to respond. We don't hear strong words coming from the administration, and a matter of fact, they're actually telling the Israelis that, oh, maybe you need to back off a little bit. And that's absolutely unacceptable.
As you went through the Middle East on your trip, I'm wondering what surprised you the most, what worried you the most, what reassured you the most?
Well, I do feel I won't say very optimistic, but I do feel better about leaning in and pressuring some of these countries on release of the hostages. Egypt is involved in negotiations with Hamas, as is the Qataris. Bahrain is a very good partner to us in the Middle East. And of course, we have other nations like Jordan that will be involved as well. But I do feel very good about visiting with those leaders, making sure they understand that we must have Americans returned and that we must find peace and stability in the Middle East. But that doesn't involve the engagement of terrorists. So I feel good about the message being received by those leaders, but time will tell.
And you can watch On Balance with Leland Vittert weeknights at 7, 6 Central right here on News Nation.
Okay, I know you were all watching last night, and it is hail to the victors of Michigan. The Wolverines winning this year's college football playoff championship after a season full of major controversy. We are live from Houston this morning once again with reaction to the big game.
Blood when brushing could be the start of a domino effect of gum disease. All of these signs could lead to worse. Parodontax is clinically proven to reverse the signs of early gum disease. Parodontax, the gum experts.
There's 2 things a young man want to be: cowboy or a gangster. And a gangster is out of style. I got back to my roots. We come from a long line of cowboys. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my aunt even rode horses. When I see all of us out here on this ranch, I see how far our legacy can go.
Now on sale at Ancestry.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different.
You can't be that different.
We are. We have a team of specialists not only in investing, but also in financial and estate planning and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, and as a fiduciary, we always put their interests first.
But you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, we have a simple management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Huh, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
As the world keeps moving, help prevent COVID-19 from breaking your momentum. You may have already been vaccinated against the flu. But don't forget this season's updated COVID-19 shot, too.
When your gut is out of balance, your body gives you signs. So if you're frustrated with occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort, help stop the frustration and start taking Align every day. Align Probiotic was specifically designed by gastroenterologists to help relieve your occasional digestive upsets, so you can enjoy life. When you feel the signs, it's time to try Align.
There's something going around the Gordon home. Good thing Gertrude found Delsum. Now what's going around is 12-hour cough relief. And the giggles. The family that takes Delsum together feels better together.
My store, my design business, were exploding. But my old internet was not letting me run the show. So we switched to Verizon Business Internet. They have business-grade internet nationwide.
Make the switch. It's your business. It's your Verizon.
I got a health plan not knowing that I was going to need it 3 months later. For $17 a month, my plan includes counseling, and it completely changed my life.
I'm not on my parents' health insurance anymore, so I found a plan for just $34 a month.
Signing up was so easy. It only took me 30 minutes to find a plan for $13 a month.
All plans cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll by January 16th.
Attention, former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for at least 30 days from August 1953 through December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects, were diagnosed with fertility issues or more, you may qualify for significant financial compensation. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group now to discuss your case. It has been proven that the water at Camp Lejeune during those years was extremely contaminated with toxic chemicals. A new law passed by Congress now allows veterans and their surviving family members to bring lawsuits and potentially recover damages for harm from exposure to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. Don't wait until it's too late. It only takes a few minutes and the call is completely free. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group to discuss your case now.
Call 1-800-773-6677. That's 1-800-773-6677.
So after a tumultuous season, both on and off the field, the Michigan Wolverines are the college football playoff champions.
That game was magic. The Wolverines took an early lead Monday night and didn't look back in their 34-13 win over the Huskies. It's their first national title in 26 years. Stephanie, I know you're live outside of NRG Stadium in Houston, but their first college football championship since 1997. You have to know that some of those alumni are now parents themselves and students attending the school.
Oh, absolutely. And we saw a ton of them. And here's the thing. If you're a Michigan fan, you're not waking up. You're still up. You're still up partying from last night's victory. And what a difference a day makes. I don't know if you can see how windy it is behind me, but, you know, the weather yesterday was a huge concern just because of all the tornado warnings. We saw people just running into NRG Stadium to get out of the rain. But thankfully, everything went off without a hitch. And inside, it was just indescribable. It was electric. The fans were nuts. The game, you know, started Michigan scoring first, and after some back and forth, they were able to pull ahead with that lead, with that victory. And here's a bit of what that sounded like once they were the champions.
Hail, hail, Michigan. They are the champions of college football 2023.
So let us not forget, there's been a little bit of controversy surrounding Michigan's football program. They are under investigation for alleged sign stealing and a couple of other investigations. But, you know, the head coach there was able to pull this off and take home this trophy for his own alma mater.
Tonight, with this awesome crowd in this wonderful building, is a fitting conclusion to the 10th college football playoff. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the conferences and schools that administer the playoff to present the national championship trophy to coach Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines.
And here's the other thing to think about here in Houston. It was just a few months ago, last year, when they hosted the NCAA men's basketball championship tournament here, the final game, and now they have this here. So you can imagine the economic impact this has for this region, especially as all these people are getting into Ubers, they're headed for the airport, or they're hitting the road this morning because these fans traveled a long way to be here in Houston, all over the country. It was just a blast last night, guys.
Yeah, they're hitting the restaurants, ordering celebratory drinks. I liked what you said, though. People aren't waking up. They are still awake. Champagne is still flowing in Houston and also Ann Arbor this morning. Stephanie Haynes, thanks.
My hotel.
Yeah, I'm sure you got little sleep last night with all the noise. Hey, thanks for the highlights, and we'll check back in a bit. Steph, thanks. I keep also thinking of our colleague Marni Hughes, who lived in Seattle. She was rooting for the Huskies hard, so I'm thinking of her this morning, too. So we'll talk to her in a bit as well. Officers and a Good Samaritan working together to rescue a man from a burning car. The entire thing caught on body cam video. What it took to get him out to safety when that car door wouldn't open.
And the first lunar lander from the United States in decades may not reach the moon even after successful launches. The details on that glitch that may jeopardize the historic mission.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
Take a breath of fresh air with the Stanley Steamer Air Duct Cleaning. We clean over 10 million feet of air ducts each year with our specialized trucks built by us, removing the contaminants from your home. For cleaner indoor air, call 1-800-STEAMER.
Honey.
Honey. NyQuil Severe Honey, powerful cold and flu relief with a dreamy honey taste. NyQuil Honey, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, honeylicious, best sleep with a cold medicine.
Emergency crystals pop and fizz when you throw them back. And who doesn't love a good throwback? Emergency crystals.
Everybody hates Beth. She eats all the food she loves and stays slim. Kim starves herself dieting, yet still can't lose weight. Beth is full of energy. Kim always feels tired. Beth has an unfair advantage. She takes Almaced, a breakthrough health and weight loss shake that fixes your metabolism to help you lose weight in a whole new way.
I couldn't lose weight no matter how much I exercise. I tried Almaced. I lost 26 pounds.
The reason you're having trouble losing weight could be a liver clogged with fat that's slowing your metabolism, making it very difficult to lose weight and stubborn belly fat. Almaced is a scientifically proven food supplement that uses natural amino acids and bioactive peptides to help unclog your liver and fix your metabolism so it's easier to lose weight.
My name is Stephanie Phillips Solar, and I'm an Almaced success story. I was able to lose 67 pounds with Almaced in roughly 7 to 8 months.
My weight is down. I feel much more energetic than I have in the past.
Over the course of time, I lost a total of 25 pounds. So thank you, Almaced.
Almaced is all natural, supports healthy blood sugar levels, and it's diabetic friendly. Some weight loss plans have you feel weak and hungry, but Almaced will renew your energy, and you can lose weight and feel great.
Almaced's unique protein can truly absorb in your body and aid with weight loss.
Studies showed Almaced helps you lose double the weight compared to other diets.
The fact is, Almaced works, and I highly recommend it.
Go online now to get started with Almaced for just $34.99. A great value to finally lose weight. We guarantee you can lose weight or you'll get your money back. Be like Beth and get the unfair weight loss advantage with Almaced.
There's something going around the Gordon home. Good thing Gertrude found Delsum. Now what's going around is 12-hour cough relief. And the giggles. The family that takes Delsum together feels better together.
Well, after a successful launch to orbit, the first